His Divine Grace Yesu Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation, dear devotees, please hear attentively. Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad and offering prasad are the six symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. Page number 56. In the first stanza of his Sri Shikshashtaka, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Chetodarpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagninirvapanam Shreyakaiva Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadhanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glory is to Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana moment is a prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Not only is the chanter of the Mahamantra purified by the heart of anyone who happens to hear the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, is also cleansed. Even the souls embodied in lower animals, insects, trees, and other species of life also become purified and prepared to become fully Krishna conscious simply by hearing the transcendental vibration. This was the explanation of Thakur Haridasa. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from him how living entities lower than human beings can be delivered from the material bondage, Haridas Thakur said that the chanting of the holy name is so powerful that even if one chants in remotest parts of jungle, the trees and animals will advance in Krishna consciousness simply by hearing the vibration. This was actually proved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself when he passed through the forest of Jharkhand. At that time, the tigers, snakes, deer, and all other animals abandoned their natural animosity and began chanting and dancing the Sankirtana. Of course, we cannot imitate the activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but we should follow in his footsteps. We are not powerful, even enough to chant the lower animals such as tigers, snakes, cats, and dogs, or entice them to dance. But by chanting the holy names of the Lord, we can actually convert many people throughout the world to Krishna consciousness. Contributing or distributing the holy name of the Lord is a sublime example of contributing or giving charity, the Dadati principle. But the same token, one must also follow the Pratigninati principle and be willing and ready to receive the transcendental gift. One should inquire about Krishna consciousness movement and open his mind in order to understand the situation of this material world. Thus, the Guhyamakyadi Prachiti principles can be served. The members of the ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, invite the society's members and supporters to dine with them even when they hold love feast in all their branches every Sunday. Many interested people come to honor Prasad, and whenever possible, they invite members of the society to their homes fed and then feed them sumptuously with prasad. In this way, both the members of the society and the general public are benefited. People should give up the company of so-called yogis, jnanis, karmis, and philanthropists because their association can benefit no one. If one really wants to attain the goal of human life, he should associate with devotees of Krishna consciousness movement because it is only movement that teaches one how to develop love of God. Religion is a special function of human society and it constitutes the distinction between human society and animal society. Animal society has no church, mosques, or religious system. In all part in all parts of the world, however downtrodden human society may be, there is some system of religion. Even tribal aborigines in the jungles have also have a system of religion. When religious system develops and turns into love of God, it is successful. As stated in the first canto of Bhagavatam, Savai Pumsaparo Dharma Yato Bhaktir Adokshaje Ahetukiya Priyata Yanatma Suprasidati. The supreme occupation dharma for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the self. If the members of the human society actually want peace of mind, tranquility, and friendly relationships between men and nation, now Srila Prabhupada is giving a conclusion to every person in this world. If the members of the human society actually want peace of mind, tranquility, and friendly relations between men and nations, they must follow the Krishna conscious system of religion, by which they can develop their dormant love for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as people do so, their minds will immediately be filled with peace and tranquility. Let's stop here. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवशरी गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणम् गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिका तलाय कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः हरे कृष्ण This Krishna consciousness movement is actually the moment of life. This is not done because I have some difficulties in my life, or this is not done because when I started practicing Krishna consciousness, my son started hearing to me, or this is not done because after practicing Krishna consciousness, I got promotion, or this is not done because so many things changed in my life. Actually, Krishna consciousness is done, you might get those things. Krishna will give those things. But those things, Krishna is only giving, showing a sign of reciprocation. It is not that through those things, I will continue. That means when Lord reciprocates, or when the material nature reciprocates, now she also reciprocates by removing something from our life. But they reciprocate by giving something. So either the case, there might be some happiness or there might be some distress. Either the case, a sadhaka should be aloof from that. How is that a sadhaka can be aloof from that? He should come to the platform of Brahmanishta. This Brahmanishta platform is this is the Brahmana. Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. But who is a Brahmana? Brahmana is not the person who is just wearing a thread. On a birth, he is a Brahmana. But technically, who becomes a Brahmana? Who realizes who realizes that I'm not this body but a powerful spirit soul. This it has to one has to realize Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Siddha. Then next is Paramatma, next is Bhagavan, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, they're eagerly ready to give us actually. So now, if if through our consciousness or through our activities we are dealing with the materialism, that means uh, when we are connected to the materialistic propensities, then what happens is it's like a vicious cycle, just like a serpent touched the milk, just a drop of milk, you know, a drop of poison. I mean, drop of poison. The entire milk glass becomes poison. So likewise, when the materialism is touched into the consciousness, now, now another aspect here. For example, if a sadhaka is completely material and then slowly is cultivating Krishna consciousness, it is all fully material, but slowly cultivated. Then will that make any effect? Definitely it will make effect. But that slow cultivation of Krishna consciousness has to strengthen more. Now, when the process has to become more strengthened, then what needs to be done? The investment in that has to be increased. We should invest more. We should invest more time, more energy, more strength. What is happening when we invest more time? Then slowly, the anarthas which are present, the materialism which is present. And by the way, through this investment, we should not again take the association of this materialism. That means a sadhaka should aspire to understand that there is nothing in this materialism. That conviction should come. That means, for example, if a person is dejected, that means the relationship, he has some problem in the relationship. Let's say there is a problem with the office. Somehow he's unable to work because they're not supportive, or somehow he felt that, they're giving him more compared to others. Even the environment is not that good enough to stay there. Then what does he do? He will immediately try to come out of it. No, that is the whole point. If he tries to, why is he trying to come out? Because it is not helping him to do his work, right? So he will try to come out of it. Then he'll find another job and then he will quit this job, right? So likewise, when a person knows that this is wrong to him, then what is he doing? He's coming out of it. As simple as that. It's not rocket science. It is a simple science. He wants to come out of it, right? And then he's trying to find another job, and then he gets that job, and then he continues his life, right? He's not worried like, oh, what's gonna happen to my office? Because he left already, right? So now if we have some real problem in the life, what is a real problem? It can be anything. But if we closely observe every problem which we are getting, it can be any kind of problem. Every problem which we are getting, that is not staying forever. Please notice that. No matter what kind of problem it is not staying. Now, even though you might say it has been staying, now I have big problem. It is staying since like few years. But that few years is also temporary. Please understand this. We are actually seeing this from an absolute plane. We're not seeing through relative plane. Through the absolute plane, the 2 year problem is also temporary. That means that will fade off one day. Now just imagine, it is continuing up until we are leaving this body. Now obviously after death, it has to fade away. The moment we leave this body, all the problems for that body are disconnected. Now the impressions are there. This is how it is. This is how it becomes more and more interesting. Now the problems are cut off through this body, but do you think that the problems are really cut off? No. This is the seriousness and the trouble which we are facing in this world. Now I'll tell you why the problems are not cut off. On one side, the problems looks to be cut off, but on the other side, it's not cut off. Why? Because the impression which we are thinking or meditating about the problems all through our life lead to enmity, jealous, anger. These conditionings which we perceive, those remain in the consciousness. They are not cut off because the soul will always stay with the subtle body. The gross body is cut off. The subtle body is not cut off. Subtle body is there. It is existing. That means if an impression which I developed 20 years back, I remember that now. Yes, dear devotees. Let's say if I had an impression 20 years back, which I wanted to forget, still I remember that. How is that? How is that happening? Now I do not have a connection or relationship with that person. Now how is that I'm remembering it again? Because the impressions gave some happiness or some distress to it. Please understand here about this is a very important aspect which we are discussing here. The impressions which are there in the heart, they don't go away. This is a proof that we are not this body. Please understand this. There are so many ways to understand that we are not this. But that impression, which we are carrying in our heart, they go to the next stage. What is that next stage? Next body. That is the reason why Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in this purport that Cheto Darpana Marjanam is so important. One has to invest time. If I say I do not have time, I have time only to chant couple of rounds, and I have time only to chant 4 rounds or 5 rounds or 6 rounds. No. We need to invest more time, more energy. We should come to the plane of, if somebody is chanting 4 rounds, he should come to the plane of 8. If somebody is doing 8, he should come to the plane of 16. He should aspire for that because he needs to understand the urgency of this, because this is a movement. And also the other thing is, within this movement, we can leave this body at any time. That's why when our superiors say that there is an urgency, we should really take it as an urgency. Because we don't know when we're going to leave this body. And before that, leaving that body, this falsification or the impressions have to be removed. Now, how is that for example, I'll take the same example. 20 years back, if I had an impression, how is that impression will go? It cannot go. Somebody has to remove. Please understand. We are souls who are completely dependent on the mercy. That will not go. That will go through the transformation of the attitude. Now I'll tell a small story. This is very interesting. So, which is very correlated to what we are discussing. This is the story of the glories of Bhagavatam. Please hear this attentively. It's a little long story. I'll try to cut it short. The story goes like this. There's a Brahmana who's really on a Brahman platform. He's really sincere. He does his chores nicely. He does his Shastra part. He's reciting the scriptures very nicely. He's a rich Brahmana. He has good He has good house, he has a wife. But the problem is he's old and he doesn't have a child. Now, the Brahmana doesn't have a child, and then the wife is not good. This is another problem. He has two problems. On one side, he's very sincere to practice his Brahmagyan. On one side, he's sincere to practice Brahmagyan, but he has two problems. He gives charity. He gives. He performs so many tapasyas, sacrifices, charity. It's there in his. That's his life. Donations. He does everything. But the thing is, his wife is not. And the another problem he has is he doesn't have a son, no children. So at a point came into our life, into his life, he became old. He's fed up of his life. He wanted to die. Now, to die, he goes to the forest. Okay, goes to the forest, and then he wanted to die in the river by drowning himself. You know, when difficulties come in one's life, Krishna sends a sadhu. Krishna sends a devotee. Now, this sadhu is a sannyasi, he's a very shreshth sadhu. And then he was so happy seeing that person. This Brahman immediately goes to the sadhu and then offers pranams. And then he says, "Why are you here in the forest?" Then he tells his story that this is what my situation is. I came here to die because I do not have a son. Then sadhu gives a solution. Now, please hear this interestingly. Please hear, this is very interesting. Sadhu gives a solution, but the Brahmana doesn't want that solution. This is the nature of this world, which I started our conversation and the discussion. We want solutions which are suited to us. This is a problem in this world. Even while practicing Krishna consciousness, the solution we want the solution only which are मुझे ठीक रहना है. I have to accept. That means it should be congenial to me. The same thing the Brahmana did. Now I'll tell you the consequences also when one doesn't follow the instructions of a sadhu. So this Brahmana, he has the solution. Now how do I deal the situation? I wanted to die. And then the Vaishnava, he said, you just go continue your Brahmagyan. You just continue, you just lead your life. And then he said, for the next 7 lives, you will not have a son. Who? The sadhu said to the Brahmana. He said, this is the nature of the world. Through your karmic reaction, this is how you've been designed. Because every person is different. Because our karma baggages are different. My baggage is different, your baggage is different, but baggage is there. Now, through that baggage, when I'll get happiness, when I'll get distress, that is already designed by this material nature. The moment we are born, the date of our death is already there. And how much we earn, how many relationships we have, what we do, these are all been there within that. So the sadhu told him, you just go to your home and just continue. Don't worry. Just continue because you will not have kids for the next 7 lives. And he also says, the Brahmana says, he is conveying his problems, so many problems. He has so many problems. He says, even his cow doesn't give any calf. He had a cow. That cow is also not giving calf. That means there's no new life at their home. And then the trees which he has at home, that doesn't give fruits. And he says that I'm so worried. I'm like the most misfortunate person in this world. And I don't like to do my chores. I don't like to practice Brahmanism. I don't want to do that anymore because I have so many problems. How can I do this? The sadhu said like this, and then he immediately said, he catches hold of the lotus feet of the sadhu, and then I will die if you do not give me a son. Now, this is a problem which I'm telling here. The Brahmana said, I will die if you do not give me a son. Now, he knows that 7 lifetimes he will not get, but still he's adamant. He's adamant in his consciousness. You know why relationships break? Because we are so adamant. We are stubborn. Why there are no good relationships in this world? Because everyone wants their own enjoyment. Likewise, this sadhu also wants his own enjoyment. He's been told, he knows the scriptures, he knows everything. He's been practicing since many years. Brahma janati iti brahmana. He's really Brahmana also. He's really practicing. Still, he has these desires. And he's adamant, please give me some, please give me some, please give me some. He's crying. That means he's going against the material nature. Please understand this, dear devotees. If you are stubborn to something that I want to do this, that's not happening. No, Krishna is not giving that. But you still strive. I want to get that. Then the material nature, so be it. So through that, we get a lot of struggles also. So what is happening? The Brahmana wants to go against the material nature. And then the sadhu, he gives an apple. He says, this is a divine apple, which I'm giving you. You take this apple, feed this to your wife, and then you'll have a son. Oh, this Brahmana was very, very happy. He's very happy. He's the most happiest person because his desire got fulfilled. Now he goes back to home. After going to home, the wife she has all bad qualities. She's not good. And then, but Sadhu's told one thing, your wife has to eat this and then she has to practice tapasya. She has to become strong. She has to lead a sadhu's life. She should be sattvic. She should eat only once. She should lead that life. She doesn't want to do that. Then the Brahmana conveys the same thing to his wife, but she doesn't listen. This is another problem. She doesn't listen. You know what happens? His wife's sister, she's pregnant at the very same time. She's already pregnant. And then she tells this to another cunning lady. Both are cunning. The Brahmana he doesn't know anything, what's happening in the background now. You know what happens? These two ladies, they're discussing. And then the sister who is pregnant, she says, I will give my son to you. If I have a son, I'll give it to him. You just have to give me some money to my husband. And then he says, that is a deal. Because this wife, she doesn't want to accept this pregnancy. Because she doesn't want to follow that, to be sattvic. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to eat 3 times. She wants to do whatever she wants. She doesn't want to follow those things. Then what happens? What do they do to that apple? The apple has to go somewhere. No, the apple goes to the cow. Please understand. It's very interesting. Actually, there's so many beautiful lessons through this pastime. See how independence is used in different ways. They are misusing the independence. They are not hearing the words of the sadhu. Misusing the independence. You know how much degradation will happen. I'll tell through this story. So what is happening next year, devotees? The fruit is given to the cow. They fed the cow the food. Actually, she should eat, but she did not. Now she's using all cheating propensities in her because her heart is filled with that. She's cheating her husband. She wanted to give money. She wanted to bribe so that the son would come. She's cheating. Everything is a cheating process. And then she fed the cow. Now cow ate the apple. You know how cow is always sattvic. And slowly, the time came. Pregnancy. The child is born. Yes, it is a boy. And then she was acting that she was pregnant. And then now all of a sudden she told her husband that yes, we have a beautiful boy. And then he also believed. And he was just happy. Now he gave a lot of donations, a lot of charity because he has a son. He fed so many people. He was very happy. He invited so many people, and then he named him. He gave so many ceremonies. It's all happened. Now, fast forward, the cow also gave birth to a boy because that's a special apple. But the ears are cow ears. Entire body is a boy's body. Now, this person is very vibrant because it came through the mercy of the sadhu. Very vibrant. Now they both grow. 20 years passed. Now the qualities of the son are manifesting. Son in the sense it's not the son of her sister. He is a fool. He's a rascal actually. He's disastrous. He does prostitution. He does cheating. He burns the homes. He does robbery. He does everything. All four regulative principles he breaks. This is son of a Brahmana. But he's not his son. He's a son of someone else, of his wife's sister. Because their nature is not good. And you see the son is become a disaster. And the son is beating the father for money. Now he commits so many sinful activities in his life, all through his life. And then father was actually, now remember this thing, dear devotees. This Brahmana invited that problem into his life. The first mistake he did, inviting the problem into his life. He didn't accept whatever he was being given. Now the sadhu told him, just lead your life. He did not listen to that. He went against it. Now you can say he had a reason. But what is he doing? He wants to get something which is not there in his life. For example, if a person this is my example of in my family, my mother's sister, younger sister, she got married first marriage. The husband is not a good person. He's like a psycho. He's not a good person. Got divorced. No children. I think they were together for like a couple of years. Got divorced. And then she stayed with her father for many years. And then after many years, again she got married. Now that person was good. But after a few years, like 8 years, he died through an accident. Now that person died like 10 years back. And then that was the moment that she was really down in her life. Because what is happening? The nature in her in her nature that is not there actually. That means to have a husband that's not there. That's how the material nature is designed. But she couldn't accept that situation, right? Some circumstances were unable to accept. Now, what is that yielding? Frustration, problems, and troubles. Now, at that moment, she took up to the process of Krishna consciousness. Now, since the past 10 years she's practicing, I haven't seen her happy like this all my life. This is the only time where she's happy. Now, I always talk to her regularly, and I always tell her, Krishna, that is Krishna's mercy why that person is not there in your life. And she's convinced with this. It is a mercy of the Lord that he removed. If, for example, if you have so many of these attachments, you couldn't practice Krishna consciousness nicely. I told her that just continue, do your Go Seva, just lead a simple life, just continue the service every day. Because when Krishna removes something in from one's life, it's a reason, dear devotees. It is not like Krishna is against us or the material nature is against us. Through our karmic reaction, we have to go through that. But actually, technically, if you see, that's a suffering. Because for our sinful reaction, we are getting another reaction. But what is happening is, through that suffering, we are using that situation to transform our consciousness into Krishna consciousness. Now that's the suffering situation. But when it is transformed into Krishna consciousness, what happens? The sufferings become devotion. And that gives solace to the heart. Now I tell her, if you had children, if your first husband was good, you might have children like who are like 25, 30 years. Now you have to take care of them. You have to see that is being given, this is being given. That means now you don't have to do. Now what are you trying to do? You're trying to do which is helping the most. Because if these attachments were there, you would have never come to the temple every day and then do this service. Most of the other people in that small village, they cannot come because they have so many other attachments. But now you do not have any of those things, you can go happily, go and do that service. Now her only desire now is just to go back home, back to Godhead and then serve there. That's it. That's her only desire. She doesn't have any other desires. Now if she has any problem, she immediately calls me. This is what is happening. This is what is happening. Please help, please. Because what is happening, dear devotees, here the Brahmana's example, he went against what he's been given. He went against. That is the problem. Now what is happening, even though he had that qualities of Brahmajana Titi Brahmana, the son of a cow, now he became a great person. Because he came by the mercy of the sadhu. Now that son came from the cow, he preached this Brahmana. You go, quit this family, go to the forest, practice, and then leave. And then leave this body, and then leave this body. And then the Brahmana left. Because he realized that there's nothing here. He understood. He was convinced. Because his son, the so-called son, is actually against him. Completely against. His wife is against him, son is against him. That's the mercy actually. A lot of people will say that, oh, if everything is good, that is mercy. If everything is not good, that is also mercy. If everything is good, practice together. If everything is not good, practice independently. But both ways, what are we doing? Both ways is beneficial for us. If, for example, entire family is practicing Krishna consciousness, practice together. They are completely against. Stay there, just you practice. The practice has to happen. Because what are we doing? We are not trying to pray to the Lord that remove these calamities. We are praying to the Lord, my dear Lord, please help me in this calamity so that I can remember you. We're not asking Him to remove those things. We're asking Him to help in those situations. It's very important. Now, Brahmana goes to the forest. His wife is there. Now, this person is so brutal. He's kicking his mother. Give money, give money. She was completely fed up. And so she goes and then dies in the well. She jumps in the well and then she gives up his life. She felt that this is not good for me and she dies. And then later on, he married 5 prostitutes. That boy. He has so much money. He married 5 prostitutes. And then he's taking care of them. You know, he did so many sinful actions. Don't you think that he'll get a reaction? He will. You know what is the reaction? It's very interesting. The reaction is these 5 prostitutes, they wanted to kill this person because this person is all doing robbery, this, that. If the king catches them, then they also have to be punished. Then all 5 came together and then they killed their husband. Just see how the material nature would work. We think that we can cheat one person, but other person is ready to cheat us. Please understand this. You cannot say that, oh, I'm just alone, I can do whatever I want. Or nobody is here. I can do. Who is watching me? No, everyone is watching us. Material nature is watching, Paramatma is sitting in the heart, is watching, all the Devi Devatas are watching, Shravani Shravana, they are watching us. We are never alone, never idle. Who said we are alone? Never alone. This body is a machine, and we are the soul in that machine. We are not alone. We've been kept in this confinement. We have an assignment to do. We have to finish this assignment. That 5 prostitutes, because the nature, what is nature of prostitution? Illegal, illicit. Prostitute means illicit. That means their heart and mind is not good. So through that, for that money, they killed that person. And then that person became a demon. In that home, they buried him. And then they left. Now this sadhu who was born from the cow, he went on Tirtha Yatra. And then he came back. That means he went on pilgrimage. He came back. And he did Shraddha also for him. Because he came to understand that as his brother died, he did Shraddha. Now he's sleeping at his home. He's seeing this demon continuously, regularly. You know what happens? He understands. This is his brother. He understood. And then he says, why are you like this here? And he gives the reasons and logics and he tells everything what happens. Then this Brahmana's son came from the cow. Now he started thinking, oh, I did Shraddha. I did rituals for him so that he can be removed from this confinement of this Brahma Rakshasi, of this demon mentality, of this demon body, so that he goes to his next destination. He did everything, but still he's not going. Why? The answer is he did so much sinful activities. That Shraddha is not working. That's not working. That means even though he does it for a million times, that will not work. Then he goes to sadhu's association. The sadhu goes to another sadhu's association and explains this. This is a situation. He's my brother. He has to be removed from this disgusting situation. You know, when they get that kind of a body, the subtle body is there. There's no gross body. You know what happens? He cannot drink, but he's thirsty. He cannot eat, but he's hungry. He cannot sleep, but he's sleepy. This is a very difficult situation, troublesome situation. That is why Lord Shiva comes to elevate these souls. Oh, Lord Shiva's service is great service. Cannot, cannot imagine what kind of service he's doing. Because these souls are very troublesome. That means in order to enjoy something, that subtle body has to go into another body. For example, if he's too attached to sense gratification, now he has a subtle body. He's not getting a gross body because he was killed or he did suicide. He has so many attachments. You know what happened about is this personality has to take another body to enjoy that. It's a very, very troublesome situation. Very, very troublesome situation. That's why we should be very careful what we are doing every day, every moment. So this, because his brother wanted him to remove him from that situation. He wanted to elevate him to higher consciousness, to higher plane. Then he goes to sadhu and then he tells, and the sadhus will tell, you recite Bhagavatam to him for 7 days. That is the only solution. No solution in this world can help him. Then all the sadhus came. A lot of people came because this son of this cow was empowered personality. He came by the blessing of the sadhu. That person started reciting. All the people came. Now the demon, he also came. He's very eager to come out of the situation. It's a very troublesome situation. He realized that this is the only way and my brother is helping me. Now he's convinced here. Dear devotee, this is important. The demon who is there in the subtle body, who's carried in the subtle body, is convinced that this is the only hope and shelter for me. I always think, we have everything in America. Can we ever be convinced like this? We have a nice car to drive. We have this, we can go there, we can go here. We can do so many things. We're in a comfort zone. Do we ever get this kind of conviction? I don't think so. We will ever get this conviction in our life. Because our actions and activities are not done with complete conviction. Now I tell why. There's a reason for this. Why am I telling this is? No, they kept a stick, like a bamboo stick, which has 7 layers in front of the person who is speaking. Now this demon, he comes into that stick. He has to go. He has to go somewhere. That's why you see the demons either staying at the tree or some other place. He has to have a place because he doesn't have a gross body. He has to take some other body. Now he came into that bamboo stick. After day 1, there are 7 layers, right? First layer is cut off. After day 2, second layer is cut off. After day 3, third layer, fourth layer, fifth layer, sixth layer, 7 days. 7 days he continuously chanted. Shloka, translation, shloka, translation, shloka, translation. He's reciting Bhagavatam. After 7 days, the body, he received a transcendental body. All his sinful reactions are removed, burnt off. Because he took the association of the sadhu. All the sinful reactions are burnt off. A plane came from the spiritual world, Vaikunta, Vaikuntha plane came. And then through that Vaikuntha plane, he was almost about to go. And then the sadhu stopped, who came from Mother Cow. He stopped. He said, why? Why only he is going? There's so many other people who also heard. Why are you not taking all of them? It's a very interesting question. Now I will ask you this question. Why only that person went, not others? There's so many thousands of people sitting. Only one plane came. Why? What do you guys think? Who would like to tell this? Please think. Why only that one person went? Why not others? Yes, Madhu Krishna Prabhu, please tell.
I think Prabhuji, like, because he is fully convinced with the process.
So you think others are not convinced?
Maybe they are not, because
Very
otherwise, like, they
beautiful.
would have chanted.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. That is the answer actually. He's not convinced. Others are not convinced. They just came. They wanted to see what's happening. They wanted to see what's happening for this in these 7 days. Because they were all interested. All the people of the village, they were all interested to see, how this person will go back home back to Godhead. They were just there. Like watching a cinema. They're just there. But they're not convinced with that. That is right. So then he told everyone. Then those Vishnudutas told him, you know what? Only he's going because he's convinced. He's convinced in the process. Not just that, entire process when he after hearing, he's doing manana, he's doing smarana in his heart and heart. Because he has no other business. Because he has no attachments in this world. He just has this. And this is the only hope for him. Just like Srila Prabhupada tried in his fag end of his life. Yesterday was the day when he turned towards America. He had nothing actually. No hope, no help, no hope. His only shelter is a spiritual master and Krishna. Nobody was helping him. None of his God brothers were helping him. No hope. It's completely dependent on it. And then he tells Krishna, my dear Lord, you can put me in whatever situation you want. Now I'm completely sold out to you. You can take me left or right. I don't know which way to go. Krishna, you tell me, God, guide me which way to go. He's writing this in his diary. He'll go into US. Just see this, dear devotees. If we are convinced about this process, that is the hope for us. That is a ray of hope. If you are not convinced, we're just doing it for doing it, it will become a punya that will not liberate or that will not send us to the spiritual world. It becomes a mere punya. For example, if you're feeding some people, it's a punya. You'll get punya for that. You'll go to Swargaloka through that punya and then enjoy. There are Ramba, Urvashi, Menaka. There is wine. You enjoy. You get a body where you can enjoy sex life continuously. What is that? Puna puna charvita charvina. Now after that, again we have to come here. That punya credits are done. Then we come here. So then what happens? The Brahmana, he explains this. Why you did not go? Because this is a reason. Then after giving his association, he explains everything again. Then you know what? Everyone started hearing attentively. Every person is very attentive to whatever way he's trying to teach. Everyone. And then after that, after a few days, so many planes came. These all have to be liberated. That's how that Brahmana who came from Mother Cow, the sadhu, by the mercy of the sadhu, by through that mercy of sadhu, all the people of the village they are liberated. They went back home, back to God, spiritual plane. They got Krishna Prem. This same thing Srila Prabhupada wanted to give us. Please understand. This is not cheap Krishna consciousness. It's not cheap. It's very profound science. This is so beautiful that no matter how many in all our previous life, no matter how much we have committed sinful reactions, that all can be burnt off in this very moment. In this very moment. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreyakairava chandrika vitaranam vidyam madhujivanam Anandambudivardhanam pradipadam purnamrita swadanam sarvatma sapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. One name is enough, dear devotees. One naam, Hare Krishna. Once, if one tells with that attitude, we'll go back on that track. Once, ek bar. But for ek bar, but for that one thing to come, we require everyday practice. That's the mercy. It's through Krishna's mercy only we get it. It's the mercy of the sadhus we get it. Through the mercy of the sadhu, all the people of the villages are liberated. Everyone went back home, back to Lord. Very important. Very, very important. So, that conviction has to come. Now we should see our life. What do we have? We might have so many things, but what does it give? Nothing. What is it helping us? It doesn't help us in any way. It's nothing. It's a futile thing. There's no substance here, actually. See, if at all there is enjoyment, he had 5 prostitutes. He would have led a happy life, right? Why is he not happy? If the Brahmana would have accepted whatever he had in his life, he would have simply went back to his home and then practiced, and then he would have gone to the spiritual world. But what he did, he went against the principle. And then what does his wife did? She also went against the principle. Now the same son, you know how brutal he became. So these are all the reactions. Through one action, we get another reaction. Through another action, we get another reaction. We do another action, we get another reaction. So that means what do? We simply have to do whatever Guru, Sadhu, Shastra are telling. We shouldn't do anything else in our life. That is the life actually. That is Krishna consciousness. If we commit anything else against it, and you see what happened to his wife. She died in the well. Suicided. You know, she'll get another body. She'll not get another body. Again, she has to wander in this world. Suicide is the greatest sin. If whoever commits suicide, because for example, if a person is supposed to live 100 years, and then he committed suicide when he's 30, because there's so many problems. A lot of people, so many people are doing suicide these days. The suicide rates are increasing so much. Do you think they'll get another body? No, they will not get another body. They have to wander in this world. Until certain time, they have to wander. It's a problem. Why? Because she couldn't take the trouble. The sadhu told her, just do austerity for 1 year until the child is born. She did not accept that. She started cheating, started fooling, started speaking lies one after the other to her husband. And then she suffered for that later. It's very important. The suffering which we are coming, it is a soul which we have seeded ourselves. Nobody is a cause for our suffering. If at least we realize this, we will not judge the other person. Dear devotees, there's so much problems going on in everyone's life. Through the problem, he's reacting in one way. We need to understand this person is reacting in this way, or this person is judging me, because I don't know how much problems he has in his life. We should think in this way. It is not, he doesn't have attitude. He doesn't know, because that is through his upbringing. He's in a state of falsification. The moment we see in this way, we will never we will never judge the other person. We will never be envious towards him. Even though he is causing problems to us, we will not react to that, but rather we will respond to those problems. We simply accept the situation. Move forward in your life. I know there's problems. We have problems. We should move forward. We cannot take this material nature in control. Bhoktaram Yagyadabasa Sarvalokamaishwaram. Krishna is a controller for that. He is the Bhokta for that. I am not Bhokta. I'm just an insignificant soul, part and parcel of Krishna. I'm not this body. I'm not woman. I'm not male. I'm just a soul which has lost his identity, forgotten. He's forgotten the identity. So this process is to reinstate that. Very, very important. Please think about this, dear. Please think about our discussion today. Actually, if possible, if you have some time, we discussed yesterday some beautiful aspects. Please try to hear them again. Try to reflect on it. Please try to reflect how the mercy of the spiritual master comes into our life and what can be done. Please reflect. Please think about that again and again. Because unless and until this reflection comes, we will not be convinced with the process. We will know the process. Knowing is one thing, convincing is another thing. We would know. But the conviction comes through absorption. The conviction comes through acceptance. We're not ready to accept it fully. Very important. Just like that Brahmana. He could have accepted that situation, stating that in the next 7 lives he will not get it. Hare Krishna. I'd like to stop here. Anyone would like to add any questions? Hare Krishna. Anyone would like to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam on Vishnu Srila Prabhupada.
Amma Bashmati Mataji, please tell. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji. So, what you discussed today is that sufferings will come, but actually sufferings actually make the living entity or jivas more serious in bhakti. Because suffering, because His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj in one of his lectures says that actually this suffering should come, which will take a person towards Krishna, because that way, and challenges also will come, as you mentioned about challenges, and so, but we have to accept that. Like we all, I mean, not we. I mean, I'm talking about myself, that we want. I want like comfort zone, like to we have to come out from the comfort zone when challenges comes and face it. And when I'll face it, and everything will not be towards my what I want, like that way. Always there will be challenges should come, and I should be bold when those things will come in the life. Prabhuji, that's Prabhuji, that I my takeaway for today's class, Prabhu.
Actually, challenges make us bold when we have deep association to what Maharaj said, and through my reflections in the life or practice in Krishna consciousness is, through challenges, we become bold only when we have deep sadhu association. Deep. We are taking them deeply to the heart. and we take them deeply to the heart, a relationship with them will be established. And then through that relationship, what we do is we accept that situation. Remember last year we had a difficulty in our life. And then I immediately wrote my spiritual master, my dear spiritual master, this difficulty is coming only through our karmic reactions, through our sinful tendencies in our life. This is not because of your presence, or this is not because of someone else's presence. I should simply accept this as is, and then I should take more and more shelter of you and your teachings and our acharyas and the Lord. I wrote that, and then he replied immediately. He said, accept everything as a blessing which Krishna is giving into your life. That means the difficulty is also a blessing. And now, when I see that situation, I get a lot of relishment. But that's a difficult situation in our life. But now, I see solace through that. I see shelter through that. If the Brahmana would have simply accepted the situation that 7 lifetimes I will not have children, okay, that doesn't matter. That is what Krishna has desired for me. That is my thing. I'll simply accept. If he would have accepted, then his life would have been different. If Ajamila, after looking into that prostitute, if he would have turned to his father and then told that situation there itself, there ends the matter. Within few moments, his father would have corrected it. The problem is the belief or the faith in that person is not there. That is a problem, actually. One cannot establish that conviction with the process, with the person, because we have so many other circumstances or situations which is pulling us away from taking the process. Srila Prabhupada, just by one meeting, he understood this is a person in my life. One meeting. One meeting. And he worked, he served his entire life to please him. This is conviction. And Srila Prabhupada also had so many difficulties in his life. What did he do through those difficulties? He said, thank you, Krishna, for showing me the naked truth of this world. Now, people have live-in relationships. This live-in relationship is very, very popular in India. Very popular. This is a Western culture, came to India. Now, everyone is in live-in relationships. But the divorce rates are most high now in India. Now they are doing live-in relationships. That means they should know each other nicely. Then why are they getting divorced? You see the problem? They just want enjoyment in this world. Everyone wants enjoyment. If that is not fulfilling, I will quit. It's a problem, actually. It's a problem. There's so many problems in this world now. Why? Because there's no Krishna. Even more important than that, there is no Acharya in their life. Krishna is there every time. Krishna is there everywhere, all the time. But an Acharya only gives us that realization that Krishna is there every time, all the time. They come into our life. And when we are very honest with them, very chaste with them, just like a chaste wife is, just like a wife who's chaste to the husband, she doesn't see any other person other than his husband, other than her husband, but is chaste. Just like the chastity of Mother Sita to Lord Ramachandra, that chastity we need to have towards our acharyas. That chastity we should have. My dear Gurudev, my dear spiritual master, my dear Shabhu, I simply want to do. I don't want to commit any sinful activities in my life. I don't want. Even the thought should not come into my life. This is boldness. Because what are we seeing? Now we are on a lion. We might be an ant, but the ant is on a lion. Will anyone touch the ant? Nobody will touch the ant because the ant is sitting on the lion. Now the acharyas wanted to give us, they are like lion. They are telling, sit on me. Sit on me in the sense, follow my instructions. Just follow my instructions. When we follow it boldly, then what happens? All these things. We know the naked truth of this world. I'll give another example. For example, there's a hero and heroine. Now, we might be in our teens when we watch that movie. Now, if you see the fate of that heroine, white hair, face is drawn up, all wrinkles. No more like that. What is that representing? It is representing the fact of this world. Why people have extramarital relationships? Because they're not getting satisfaction with that person. That's why they have extramarital relationships. And our acharyas, they come and say, that is one of the offense. Just stop it. You can live without that. Without that sense gratification, I'll teach you how to lead a life. This is what our acharyas are telling us. It's a joyful process, actually. But the world is running behind that, which is a material nature. So problematic, actually. That's why whenever I hear Chetodarpana, what a solace to the heart. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving assurance that he'll remove all the anarthas from the heart. Wow, what a solution is that? What a solace is that? Who's giving that solution? Who is giving that solace in this world? Nobody. No one can give solace. No one can give satisfaction to the heart. Because only happiness is only there in the heart. Nowhere else. Nowhere else in this sense of gratification. There's no happiness. Now he stayed. He had sex with those 5 prostitutes. Was he happy? No. He was not happy. He was struggling. Troubling. He became a demon. Hare Krishna. Whoever understands and realizes there is no happiness in this world, he will take to the process. Just like I told the example of my mother's sister, younger sister. Krishna removed everything from her life. Everything. She's so happy practicing. I said, if you have this consciousness of just pleasing your Guru and Krishna, you'll go and serve in Goloka. You'll serve mother cows there also. Much more is required. Now, this entire world might be running behind so many things, but she's not. I know there are so many devotees like that who will go in this very lifetime. The spiritual master told them, you will all go in this very lifetime. Just continue what you're doing. Because their heart is already purified. Unless and until something new comes, they're ready to go back home, back to Godhead at this moment. So many devotees like that. That's the aspiration. Because I always think about this. How many days we will hit on the keyboard? How many days? There are no keyboards in the spiritual world. There's no keyboards. There's no keyboards. How many days we'll hit? How many days we'll become a software engineer? How many days we lead this life? Simplicity is the essence of everything. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Subal Prabhu, some person.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Here, this is Bhagavat Ashraya Prabhu, disciple of His Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. So, Prabhuji joined ISKCON in Australia, Melbourne, Australia, in October 1974. Prabhuji is preaching in Australia, India, United Kingdom. He's also was also temple president of ISKCON London Soho Street Temple. Since 1990, Prabhuji has been extensively traveling all over the world, Australia, UK, USA, and focusing on the devotees in the communities where there is no established temple like here. So we are longing for a temple and a center, and nurturing the local sanghas and all. So we had a wonderful Balram Jayanti celebrations yesterday under the guidance of Prabhuji. So Prabhuji would like to give a few words for all of us.
Well, Hare Krishna. I didn't want to interrupt what you're doing. What is your topic this morning?
Neck truffles.
Hmm?
Today morning we discussed on nectar of instruction, Prabhuji.
Which one are you discussing?
Dadati pratigunati guhyam kyati pachati.
Mm, mm, mm.
Thank you so much for your presence here.
Well, I'm honored to be here. So many people. I'm looking at the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 people. You meet like this every morning or on
Yes.
weekends?
Yes, Prabhuji, every day.
Every day. This is exemplary.
Yes.
So what was your discussion so far? Were you leading Nila Govinda Das, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, by Marsha, the spiritual master, I'm reading.
Sorry?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm reading.
And who is your spiritual master?
His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj.
Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Well, I'm not Radhanath Swami Maharaj. I'm just little man. He's very big devotee. So let me hear a little what you're saying.
Hare Krishna. Actually, we were discussing about how our attitudes have to be changed to follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada.
Mm,
Because if we hear not having right attitude, then the entire thing will be ruined. If our consciousness is not right to what we are doing, then it's a problem. It's not taking us to the right shelter, right guidance. We touched upon how conviction is very important in one's
I'm sorry, how
conviction.
conviction?
How conviction is very important in one's life, because without convincing we cannot do anything. We've seen through the example of Srila Prabhupada how he was so much convinced just by meeting a spiritual master once. He was convinced that he's my life and soul. And then he lead his life, his entire life, through that conviction that let me just please him to the core of my heart. That was his desire. And through that desire, we see this manifested actually. This ISKCON has been established. Because his only desire was to please his spiritual master. That was his whole idea. And then he was, wherever he go, whatever he's doing, he was always thinking, how can I please him? So these are the core principles which we need to establish in the heart, which we are trying every day. We are trying to see how these principles can be established. Because until these things are established, our actions will not have real existence. Because we are doing it, but we're not doing it with conviction. So, because if conviction is missed, then doubts arise into one's consciousness. Through the doubts, the process becomes weak.
Mm.
And when the process becomes weak, our hearing becomes weak. Chanting becomes weak. All of those things will become weak. This is what we were discussing. Wanted to give a summary. But so grateful for all your services which you have done.
Oh, I'm a spectator of ISKCON. I'm not I haven't done much service at all.
Because I remember.
But one thing I can say, thinking of what you're saying, I think there's a very important verse in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where, of course, at the end of the second chapter, Arjuna, well, not at the very end, but verse 54, he asks Krishna, how can you tell when someone is in transcendental consciousness? How does he walk? How does he speak? Most important, how does he speak? Prabhupada says there, you can always tell a fool as soon as he speaks, because the speech of a person is the indication of the consciousness. But then Krishna begins to explain to him for the rest of that chapter, from verse 55 to 72. He describes how the consciousness changes through the process of the practice of bhakti. And it's very important. Verse number 59, I was thinking. Vishaya vinivatante nirahasya dehina rasapyasyam rasopyasya param drishya nivadate. I consider this a foundational verse for all of us to understand what's happening. We've taken to the process of Krishna consciousness in the middle of Vishaya, this Vishaya of this material world. And the translation is very, very instructive. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. That restriction is either a voluntary restriction or an involuntary restriction, in that we are all embodied souls, whether we are practicing Krishna consciousness or not. We're embodied in this restricted situation of these bodies are very restrictive. We learn that the soul is so powerful. Each individual jiva is so powerful. We're not insignificant in our nature. Part and parcel of Krishna. So the material energy is very, very powerful. And our attachment now is to sense objects. We've been living under the influence of the modes of material nature, Prabhupada says, since time immemorial, pursuing material desire. So whether we are voluntarily restricting our sensual activities, or whether we're just trying to get all forms of sense gratification, still we're restricted. I may be the gross materialist and I want the very best of everything, but due to my karma, I can't get it. But I'm hankering. But I say very often, I want a Lexus, but all I can afford is a Corolla. The taste for sense objects is there, whether I'm restricting myself voluntarily, or whether I'm being restricted by karmic influences. The mind is saturated with material desire now. But desire is what motivates everybody. We come to the material world in the first place because we want to. So that conception has to be changed. And that's why this second half of this verse is so encouraging, because if you read the first half, though the embodied soul may be restricted, the embodied soul is restricted from sense enjoyment, but the taste is there, and we are driven by that taste. So how do you get out of this? How do you get yourself out of this? So that that Krishna says, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness. So this makes us personalists. The impersonalist is restricting himself voluntarily. He's trying to control his senses by abstinence, by withdrawing the senses from the objects of the senses. But he has nothing to put his senses into a refocus. What is he focusing on? Nothing. Ultimately, impersonalist philosophy is, well, you don't exist. But we have to accept, I exist, I'm here, and my heart is full of desires. So this point about conviction is very, very important. How do I become convinced that there's anything beyond the realm of sense perception? By an experience. By an experience. And what is that experience? The higher taste. The higher taste is Krishna. And Krishna is making himself available in such a simple way now, through the association of devotees and the chanting of his name. So if there's no desire for anything other than sense enjoyment, then there's no point bothering. So what creates that desire? What creates that desire? We see, like you mentioned, like with Srila Prabhupada. He said, I love in the Lilamrita, the description of that evening with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. But what he said to his friend when they left, or what Prabhupada said actually in discussion with his disciples one time, he said, that night I accepted him as my guru, not officially, but in my heart. So that changing in the heart is the most important thing. And it can only come when we actually have the association of sadhu. Sadhu. Sadhu means to cut. So the words of the sadhu cut through our illusion and touch the heart. Krishna consciousness is an affair of the heart. Our problem is that we broke up our relationship with Krishna and accepted forgetfulness of Krishna. And on that foundation of forgetfulness, in the 15th verse of the 5th chapter, Krishna says, the bewildered soul, however, the embodied soul is bewildered by the ignorance which covers his true knowledge. We all know Krishna, and we all know people I know, yes? I know these devotees who are sitting here with me now. I'm just getting to know you. How? By association. By association. We are all associates of Krishna. We all have a relationship with Krishna. And that relationship is eternal. There was no time when our relationship with Krishna did not exist. But at some point, by the misuse of our free will, we've entered into the forgetfulness of that relationship. Forgetfulness and remembrance, however, are predicated on knowledge. If you don't know something, you can't remember it or forget it. And I was saying yesterday how love for Krishna is dormant within the heart of every living being. So by the association of the pure devotee of the Lord, gradually, all of the misgivings, the doubts, the fears that have arisen due to our forgetfulness of Krishna and our association with Maya. Maya simply leads us into a crazy situation of attachment, fear, and anger. But there's that other beautiful verse in the 4th chapter. Vita raga baya krodha manmaya marupashvita bahavo jnana tapasa madbhavam agata. Becoming free from these things is, like you say, first of all, based upon the conviction that arises from hearing from authoritative sources. When you hear the truth, it resonates with the truth that exists within your heart, below the covering of ignorance. This ignorance is simply a covering of the soul. We are all eternal lovers of Krishna. We exist to love Krishna. And we become convinced of that through sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha. Well, first of all, we have to have a little bit of, we have to develop a little respect. Through hearing, we develop some respect because, as Krishna says, one who studies this sacred dialogue worships me with his intelligence. So the intelligence that leads us actually to this point where we are asking questions about the nature of our existence is noted by Krishna, who is always present as our chaperone in this material world. And he says, Ishvara Sarvabhutana Videshu. I direct the wanderings. So here we've come in contact with the truth. With the truth. And there's a beautiful verse, 2 verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam that we could, I'll just end my little talk with. Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 2, canto 2, chapter 8, verses 5 and 6. This is spoken by Parikshit Maharaj. Actually, the beginning of that chapter is questions by Parikshit Maharaj. And verse 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are Parikshit Maharaj talking about the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the 5th verse, he says, where are we? I want to get this. Pravishta kana randrena swanam bhava sororuham dunoti shamalam Krishna shalilasya yata sharat. Beautiful verse. The sound incarnation of the Lord, the sound incarnation of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Soul, and that is Srimad Bhagavatam, enters into the heart of the self-realized devotee, sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, and thus cleanses the dust of material association, such as lust, anger, and hankering. Thus, it acts like autumnal rains upon pools of muddy water. In the next verse, verse 6, where are we? Dautatma Purusha Krishna Pada Mulam Namunchati Muktasava Pariklesha Pantaswa Sharanam Yata. A pure devotee of the Lord, whose heart has once been cleansed by the process of devotional service, never relinquishes the lotus feet of the Lord, for they fully satisfy him as a traveler is satisfied at home after a troubled journey. So we've all been on a very troubled journey for a long time in this material world, life after life after life. And now, although we're still troubled by so many things, something in the core of the heart has changed. Something in the core of the heart. Krishna consciousness comes from the inside out. Of course, we take on the rules and the regulations of Krishna consciousness. But we do that because something has changed in our hearts. We've acquired the higher taste. And once as you're saying about conviction, once we get that higher taste, that cannot be taken away from us. Beautiful verse in the second chapter of the 11th canto, 42nd verse. I don't remember verses verbatim a lot, so my trusty secretary here.
Second canto.
11th canto. 11th canto, second chapter. We'll end with that. I don't mean to keep you too long. 11th chapter, 42nd verse. This is the 9 Yogendras meet Maharaj Nimi. Yes? 42. There we are. Bhakti Parashano Bhavo Viraktiya Anyata Chaisa Trika Ekakala Prapadya Manasya Yatasna, oh, terrible. Yatasnata Shus Tushti Pushti Kud Apayo Nugasham. Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the same way that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. You don't need somebody sitting with you when you have your breakfast telling you this is what's happening. You know by your own personal experience. And this is also why we have a society of devotees, because we can open our hearts to each other and reveal, yes, I have this experience. I have this experience. You have this experience. And we see in this society, men, women, children, businessmen, academics, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your color is, what your class is, what your previous life was. Something has changed in your heart by direct experience. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada used to say, it's not armchair philosophy.
Yes. Yes.
It's not armchair philosophy. We're not sitting around wrangling. That's the other verse in the second chapter, just prior to that, verse 56, where he says, Dukeshu vanavigna sukeshu vigatas priya vitaraga baya kroda mama stita dir muni ipshite. There's that line. Vitaraga baya kroda again. Free from attachment, fear, and anger. One becomes a stita dir muni by acquiring this taste. And anyone can acquire this taste simply by hearing from authoritative sources. If you're sincere in the first place, then you'll become convinced very quickly, because you will acquire that taste. And nobody can take that away from you,
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
because you're convinced. Yes, you're convinced.
Actually, my spiritual master says one class is required to be convinced with the process. Like if you take that one class is required to be convinced. Because the moment we take it, we begin experiencing it. And that experiences, they move forward. And then brings us to the state of surrender.
Exactly.
And then through that surrender, everything is manifested in the heart. It's a very scientific process.
It's completely scientific. It's the greatest science, the science of Krishna consciousness. Yes. That point he's making, one class, if you once give attention to this immediately, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtan Hridyantasto Hyabhadrami. This Vidunoti, the sound vibration, the cleanse by sound. There's perfective sound and there's defective sound.
Yes.
We're in Vishaya, this world of defective sound. It's simply leading us further and further down the rabbit hole of the material world. And there's no way out. There's no way out. Except until and unless you hear perfective sound. And as soon as you get the medicine, there's relief. Immediately, the disease begins to withdraw. And what is underneath this disease in our consciousness is revealed to us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for your presence and then giving all of us this enlightenment. Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
Can I ask?
Yes.
I don't know if devotees are okay with this. So it's little almost 8:30 at your place. So question is, Prabhuji, how many times you met Srila Prabhupada personally? And what made you convinced in this process of Krishna consciousness?
What made me convinced was the preface of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Very
That
nice.
was the beginning. Disparity in human society is due to a lack of religious principles in a godless civilization. That one sentence. So, and the complete clarity of that's when I met Srila Prabhupada, through his
Very
books. I met him on the street of Melbourne in the form of his Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1. I took that book home and I read the preface, and that was the butt, experiencing a higher taste. I began the process. And how many times did I meet Srila Prabhupada? I tried to meet Srila Prabhupada every day.
nice.
I tried to somehow or another get in contact with Srila Prabhupada every day. It's an interesting question. You say, how many times did you meet Srila Prabhupada? Or people say, oh, you were so fortunate you saw Srila Prabhupada. Well, at another time, I could probably tell a couple of little stories about how I actually did have some personal exchange with Srila Prabhupada. But for the majority of time and for the majority of his disciples, we meet Srila Prabhupada by hearing him.
Definitely.
that's the significance of his dedication of the Bhagavatam to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. He lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. So, in that sense, I haven't seen Srila Prabhupada for 47 years. And I'd barely been in the movement for 3 years when Srila Prabhupada departed. Most of you, of course, we've seen all kinds of attacks by Maya on our society and all kinds of disruptions in relationships with gurus and so forth. But
Yes.
the ship's been fairly steady for the last 30, 40 years now. So how long have you been initiated?
I got my father took me to the temple in Habits when I was like 5 years old or 6 years old.
Yeah.
So that's why I got connected. That was the first time I saw Srila Prabhupada.
You saw Srila Prabhupada?
No, I mean in the sense I saw the Murti of Srila Prabhupada, and then I felt that was Srila Prabhupada sitting there.
Yeah, so many people say that. I've met people, I went to the temple and I saw this man sitting there and I thought, how can he sit so still?
Yeah.
He's not moving, but they're drawn to him. But
And
the point I'm getting at is, even if your spiritual master's present on the planet, like Radhanath Swami, you're all Radhanath Swami disciples here in this house. You're a Radhanath Swami disciple. But where is he now?
yeah, he's actually, they drive through the consciousness. So
We live in separation. Whether the spiritual master is present on the planet or whether he's not present on the planet, the majority of our time is in separation.
correct.
So what's the connection? The connection is through hearing.
Correct.
The connection is through hearing. So many people, like there's the saying, the cat sees the king. But what does he see? Or another example, the spiritual master is sitting on the cushion and there's a cockroach comes. So you may be close to the spiritual master, but if you've got the consciousness of a cockroach, what's the point? If you're not actually hearing, you're not actually listening to what's being said and applying it in your daily life, because we've all got the same appointment to keep in this. Again, it doesn't matter. Rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. We're all going to die. Yes. So you're not going to die sitting on the lap of your spiritual master. But and what does it matter what your position is in society, or what does it matter in the society of ISKCON who the current temple president is, or who the GBC is, or you have to remember Krishna at the time of your departure from this world. So this is also, again, this acquisition of the higher taste, this becoming convinced. Tadatmanas, tadbudayas, tannishtas, parayana. When your intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then you proceed straight by complete knowledge. All misgivings are destroyed, and then you proceed straight on the path of liberation. And then you come to the point of dying, and Krishna says, well, if you think of me at the time of death, then you will attain my nature without doubt. So our process is a process of empowerment. And the spiritual master's role is to open the eyes of the disciple with the torchlight of knowledge, but then it's up to the disciple to take it up.
Correct.
There's a beautiful purport in the 11th chapter of the first canto, when Krishna enters Dwarka, verse number 22, at the end of the purport, Prabhupada says, no one is rejected from the kingdom of God, but it remains with the individual to take that up. And it's, so the spiritual master presents all this knowledge with reason and argument. And as you say, we have to become convinced and then act on it. And so then it's practice, practice, practice. Never give up our practice. And what is our practice? To remember Krishna at every moment. Practices. Manmana, manmana. You think of me. You think of me. Mana mam anushmara yudhyacha.
Yes.
He doesn't say the cadence of the verse would carry yudhyacha mam anushmara.
Yes.
It would work that way just as well as mam anushmara yudhyacha. So he doesn't say you fight and think of me. He says you think of me and fight. So you have your duties to do, but our practice is to think of Krishna in the midst of a meeting about the latest AI program that you're working on. Think of Krishna. Think of Krishna. Chetasasavakamani mai sanyashamatpara. In all activities depend upon me. So I know devotees, God brothers and God sisters, who never physically saw Srila Prabhupada. They were never in the same place that Srila Prabhupada was in the whole time that he was present on the planet. And they are some of the most staunch devotees I know, because they are completely convinced by virtue of personal experience.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So you asked when I was initiated. You asked when I was initiated.
Yes.
I was initiated on May 21st, 2017.
But you've been involved in Krishna consciousness and you had the association of Radhanath Swami. How old are you now?
I'm 41.
41. So practically speaking, your whole life. Yes. That's very fortunate. So make the most of your good fortune.
Please give your blessings for all the devotees who joined on the call, so that all of us can.
Well, I feel blessed to be on the call. I'm blessed to be here. It's a blessing for me. So
Devotees are sincerely trying to practice. They come, they join every day. They hear, they chant. We try to discuss. So devotees are trying to become more and more sincere because they're understanding the process. They're trying to know the process. We all hear and discuss about the principles of surrender, which is so vital and important. And slowly through this process of hearing and chanting, which is the most sublime process. With this, we slowly want to transform our consciousness, our heart, because unless and until the heart is changed, there's no help. So that is what we.
Rajalila, chapter 22. This surrender business. Krishna's in the heart. He knows. He knows. As I said, it starts from the inside out. And there's two verses that I'll end with. In the 22nd chapter of Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatana Goswami on the process of devotional service. And there's a series of verses here, many verses. But at the center of these verses It's about 10 verses long. But in verse 33 and 34, Lord Chaitanya says in verse 33, one is immediately freed from the clutches of Maya. One is immediately freed from the clutches of Maya if he seriously and sincerely says, my dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in the material world, today I am surrendering unto you. I am a sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your service. So why don't we all unmute right now? Please, everybody, unmute. Everyone, come on, unmute. Baswati, Sridhar Pashi, come on, everyone, unmute. And repeat after me.
Yes, Prabhu. Sure.
Repeat after me. My dear Lord Krishna,
My
My
dear
dear
Lord
Lord
Krishna,
although I have forgotten you
although
although
Lord,
I
I
have
have forgotten
forgotten
you
you
for so many long years
for
so
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 many
many long
long
years
years
in the material world,
in the
in the
material
material
world,
world,
today
Today,
I am surrendering unto you.
I am
I am
surrendering
surrendering
unto
unto you.
you.
I am your sincere and serious servant.
I am your
I am a
sincere and
sincere and
serious
serious
servant.
servant.
Please engage me in your service.
Please
Please
engage
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 me
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 in
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 your
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 service.
service.
Now, here's the response. Lord Chaitanya then, of course, we understand. Lord Chaitanya is non-different. So in number 34, he quotes a verse by Lord Ram. And he says, it is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
last statement, therefore, is what Lord Ram says, that we can prove ourselves to him by saying, my dear Lord, everybody, my dear
My
Lord,
dear
My
Lord,
dear
My
My
dear
Lord,
dear
Lord,
Lord,
from this day
From
from
this
this
from
day,
this
this
day
day,
I am yours.
I
I
am
I am
am
yours.
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 And Krishna will reciprocate. Krishna will reciprocate with you all. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
As
Hare Krishna.
I
Prabhuji.
said
Thank you.
yesterday, I'm not an advanced devotee, but I have 50 years of experience in this process. And I can say with complete conviction that what we've said here is true. So the main thing is gati. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't give up. Don't worry. Just keep going. You have the protection of the Lord. Don't worry. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare.
Thank you.
Hare
I
Krishna.
have to say one last thing. I've been so inspired to come to Tampa. The program last night and this little exchange with all of you this morning is very inspiring. And I pray that the Lord allows me and enables me to come back and get your association again.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Evo.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And we have His Grace Keshav Prabhu, who is
Okay.
also our God brother.
Keshava Gopal.
Anil Govind Prabhu is also our God brother. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
our
Thank you.
Samsung Prabhuji also. God.
Everybody's,
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
thank you.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Hare
Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Ramapran Prabhu, is Karina Mataji available for Prem Diwani prayers? If
No,
not,
Mataji. No, she's not.
okay, no worries, Prabhu. I'll try to do. Let me bring it.
Oh, she's coming, Mataji.
Thank you
She's
so very much, Prabhu.
yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Please go ahead.
जब विष्णुपदा परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य सरस्वती श्री श्रीमद ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत महाराज श्रीपाद की जय।
Jai.
इसका विवचिफानाचार्य श्रीपाद की जय।
Jai.
जब विष्णुपदा परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य सरस्वती श्री श्रीमद भक्ति वेदांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रीपाद की जय।
Jai.
नंदकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय।
Jai.
आचार्य सर रास्तकुर की जय। कौशिक कृष्ण चैतन्य पवन नित्यानंद श्री ऋतुगराधर शिव सरी गौर भक्तवृंद की जय।
Jai.
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपी गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंगरी गवड़न की जय।
Jai.
श्री मायापुर धाम की जय।
Jai.
श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय।
Jai.
श्री जगन्नाथपुरी की जय।
Jai.
गंगा माया की जय।
Jai.
यमुना माया की जय।
Jai.
तुलसी देवी की जय।
Jai.
भक्ति देवी की जय।
Jai.
श्री नाम संकीर्तन की जय।
Jai.
समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। गीता गौरव परमानंद हरि हरि।
Hari Hari Bo.
और गौर से समुद्रवती श्री कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.
और गौर से समुद्रवती श्री कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.
और गौर से समुद्रवती श्री कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.
और गौर से श्री गुरु गौरंग नमः ओम विष्णुराय कृष्ण विष्णाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवारी प्रसादिष्टारणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री ऋतुगराधर शिव सरी गौर भक्तवृंद। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं गायते कृपात्महं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदनतानं परमानन्दमाधं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरवे गौरचन्द्राराधकातरालये कृष्ण कृष्ण भक्ताय नमो नमः। वञ्चकल्पतरुषाकल्पस्मै एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Hare Krishna, everyone. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Hari Bol.
Hari Bo. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so
Hari
very
Bol.
much for yesterday's service to show the flower to smell, Lord's lotus feet flower. Thank you for that, and thank you for Prem Diwani prayers today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful message today on conviction and then application as well. And the source of conviction is listening. So we should always listen attentively. Thank you so very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Devotees, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinama.
Thank you.